What's good, everybody? It's John. I come back at you with another video. So for this video, I wanted to talk about beliefs, right? And for you to understand that your beliefs are not all true. And I want to tackle this one by giving a few examples of like things that I've experienced, things that I've heard, especially in like the lives of other people that I've encountered, um, just to help put things into perspective. Because I know that people can have a very skewed perspective and think that their beliefs are all always true, right? Because from their perspective, from their minds, is if it wasn't true, they wouldn't be believing it, right? And people need to understand that beliefs are just thoughts that you think over and over and over, right? So it's ingrained in you, right? So because you think it over and over and over, you think it to be fact, or because you've thought about it for so long, right? Because your mind is fixated on that idea, it's easier for you to see or come across it or spot it. So then, if you're seeing it over and over and over and spotting it, right, it leads you to believe that it has to be true because you're seeing it all the time. When in actuality, that's not necessarily the case. Now, one example I want to bring up is related to me, right, and related to my upbringing, and um, you know, come from humble beginnings. And during my upbringing, where I originally lived, I would say it was a tougher environment to be around. Um, as a kid, it wasn't the safest place for to be a kid, just because a lot of things would happen to people in the area, things like that. Um, and so because of that, it was of course experiences from like that I've seen, experiences from people in my neighborhood, right? So because of that, and from what I've heard from my parents and other people in the area, that you know basically that the world is not a safe place and it's a scary place. And so to some degree that was always like at the back of my mind, right? Like I always, the first chunk of my life, I sort of operated like looking over my shoulder, because you just never knew, right? Even if, for me, I was always like a good kid, right? I never got in trouble, but like you just never know, right? So like me back then in my area, right? So it was always like I had to be super careful, and that's what people around me would always say. And it's interesting because it was once I was fortunate enough to move out of that neighborhood and environment to a whole nother neighborhood, that's when it was a complete change of scenery, and the energy completely shifted. And in the neighborhood that I'm living in now, right, and have been here for quite some time, it's very peaceful, and there's so many good people, right? Like there's great people. I've met so many great people. I've had so much fun here. It's been such an amazing time and quite a pleasure to be here. And that entire perspective, that belief that I had of the world being a scary place and people are out to get you, and stranger danger, all these things, right? It began to fall flat on its face. Me being here and having gone away to college for a couple years, um, that belief that I had that I picked up along the way, it soon became apparent that that just wasn't true, right? That there are good people everywhere, and that for the most part, people are trying to do what's right. Like people know right from wrong and are trying to do what's right. Now, of course, that doesn't say there aren't bad apples, right? Of course, bad apples exist anywhere, right? And from time to time, you may come across one, but that's not to say that most people are bad apples, right? Like that's not true, right? Most people are good apples, and from time to time, you may experience a bad apple, but to understand that there's so few and far between, so you don't really have to worry about it. So that was one belief that I used to think that the world is a scary place, but then as I've gotten older, I realized that that's not true. That there are great people everywhere, and that's the same case when I've traveled. Right, like I would travel for vacation, different places, and I would meet great people. I would share laughs. I would get to know people, and I would just have such a great time, and I'll feel at peace and so comfortable. And it's just been a complete 180 from how I used to perceive things just as a kid. Like I used, to some degree, everyone around me would be like fearful of the world. And, of course, that rubbed off on me because I just didn't know any better. I never had the opportunity to really experience the world. And then when I do have that chance, I can come to realization that that's not true, right? So this is what I mean when I say your beliefs are not all true. Like, you may have a belief because it was a belief that was imposed onto you by a parent, by your environment, by the things that you've seen, but that can skew your perspective if you haven't been able to experience everything else that there is to experience, right? And now seeing being where I'm at and seeing what I've seen, right? Like, of course, I know that there's great neighborhoods and great people and great experiences everywhere and all the time. And, life is enjoyable and it's just a great place to be. So I'm just grateful that I've been able to experience this other side, and, I won't be able to look back. So that's one belief that I had as a kid growing up that I now know is not true, right? Another belief that people have, this isn't me, this is other people. I'm sure you guys might know someone like this, but it's people when it comes to just like relationships, right? Like, there's some people that say, oh, good people don't exist, like as far as like partners, right? Potential partners, right? They'll say, oh, good partners don't exist, like people are always toxic, they're always like, they do bad things, like they cheat on me, this and the third. Which is funny because like people say that all the time, that they can't find anyone good, that where are the good people, like where are they? And I for me, I'm just confused at where that statement come from, because good people are everywhere. I meet good people all the time, I know good people, right? People that literally just enjoy peace in their lives, like they're drama free, they focus on what they have going on in their lives, and they want the best for themselves and the best for people around them. It's just that when some people are looking for relationships, chances are they're usually the toxic ones that have drama and problems. And when they come across someone who isn't that, right, like someone like myself, some people can say my life is boring. That's fine. For me, I enjoy peace. I enjoy focusing on myself and what I have going on, and of course making videos for you guys. So for some people, they'll see that as boring, and they won't their mind won't be able to comprehend someone that doesn't get themselves involved with drama or problems. And those people who love toxicity, or for some reason love finding a partner that has problem because they want to quote unquote fix them, they end up putting themselves in the same position. They end up attracting the same situation, attracting the same type of partners, rather than seeing red flags and saying, you know what, like, this is not what I'm looking for someone, right? Like, we know people like that are in toxic relationships, or go from one bad situation to another, to another, to another. And it's sort of like me being like an outsider, like a bystander, right? I could kind of see it clearly, right? From like a bird's eye view, I could say, okay, well, this is sort of like a questionable situation. I can already see how this could play out bad. And then it ends up playing out bad. And that person is just like confused and frustrated and in disbelief how it played out bad, when in actuality, it's sort of like you can see it right away, For those people, that is a bad belief to have, right? Because if you're someone who's actually looking for a partner and wants a peaceful relationship, something that is able to work itself out, right? Like, that's what you want, so that's what you should be speaking into existence. Not if you're looking for a relationship for you to like keep saying that there are no good people, that good people don't exist, because that's not helping you. If you say that good people don't exist, then you're thinking about good people not existing, and so you're speaking what you're attracting in existence, right? If you believe that good people don't exist, and you just keep dating the people that come into your life, the people that you think are fit for you, then all it is that you're just bringing in people that aren't good for you, and you're giving those people that aren't good for you a chance, rather than the people who are good for you, right? There's plenty of good people everywhere, right? So that's a belief that falls flat on its face, because people will say that forever. They'll keep saying good people don't exist, I can't find a partner, they're just hiding from me, all these things. It's like, why don't you talk about what you do want? What is it? What is your desired outcome in this situation? What is the type of person that you're looking for? Because right now you're telling me all of the problems and everything you've experienced prior that you didn't want, which is okay, right? It's like you got to experience that side of the spectrum. As another example, right? Let's pretend this is like food, right? And you're trying out different foods, trying out different cuisines. You tried out a lot of the food you don't like. That's cool. That doesn't necessarily mean you don't like food, right? Like you still have to eat, right? So that doesn't mean you don't like food. It's just you've already tried what you don't like. That helps you narrow down the options for what you do like. Same in relationships. If you've had experiences where they weren't so great, that doesn't mean that the good people don't exist, right? Good people do exist. It's just you have to narrow down on like what you're looking for in a good person, right? Some of these red flags that used to exist in the past few couple people, right? Probably shouldn't be something that you notice in the next person if you want a different experience, right? This is what I mean. So that's one belief, right? Saying that the type of guy you're looking for, the type of people or the relationship you're looking for doesn't exist, or good people doesn't exist. That's obviously a belief that falls flat on its face. So if you're one of those people, highly recommend you stop saying that, and I highly recommend you begin speaking on what it is that you do want, right? If you're looking for a happy, healthy, successful relationship in this case, right? Another belief that I learned over the years that falls flat on its face is about working hard. That working hard is what's going to get you to where it is that you want to be. Now, of course, there's some truth to it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't necessarily do anything, right? That you shouldn't just do nothing all day. What I am saying is that hard work alone isn't what's going to get you to your dream destination, to your goal, to where it is that you want to go. Because there's plenty of people that I know, that my family has known, that has worked several jobs and for many, many years, and still struggled to make ends meet and remained in the same position. So you can work hard and bust your behind and work 80 hours a week, but that's not necessarily going to get you ahead or guarantee that you're going to move forward or progress in life, right? For those people who reach massive amounts of success, right, it's not necessarily just the result of hard work, right? Sometimes it can just be being strategic, putting thought into things, right? Other times it can be the universe itself playing things out, right? Just having luck involved of helping you. Sometimes it's meeting the right people. Sometimes it's coming to the realization that you can always do things better, that there's always going to be a better way to do things, and being able to take time to brainstorm, put thought into it, and deciding, how can I do this better, right? How can I end up, rather than just me trading my time, how can I restructure things or do things differently in a way where I can maximize my time or minimize the amount of effort I need to put in to maximize my outcome, right? Because if you guys don't already know, right, there's only so many hours we get in a day, so many hours we get in a week, and there's only so much we as humans can work before we need to take a break, rest, do all these things. There's some people that they work so long that they don't ever get to spend time with family or do anything else like that. I don't think that's really an enjoyable way to live for a lot of people. And working hard, it can only get you so far. If you're looking to be financially abundant and travel the world and live life on your own terms, that's not necessarily going to be the result of hard work, right? Like sometimes it just may require some thought. Sometimes it just may require you doing things differently and not just trying to, force success just using your hands, right? Sometimes it just requires the power of the mind. And I've seen countless and countless and countless people find success. Of course, being dedicated, committed, and disciplined and consistent, right? But finding success and being able to live their dream lives while putting in a fraction of the time and effort now in their dream life than they did back then, making significantly less, right? Making significantly less, where they were required as a shorter, where they were paid, X amount of dollars per hour, all these things now. Back then, right, when now it's like they were able to create something, right, be able to provide value to people around the world, and that's able to change lives and make a difference around the world, and that's what's able to allow them to live free because they've been able to help so many people and change lives, right? And there's people right now that exist that are doing just that, and they're very well off, and they dictate their schedule, and they are financially abundant, that they're able to eat wherever it is that they want to eat, live wherever they want to live, travel whenever they want to travel, wherever they want to travel, for however long they want to travel, right? Like, you come to realize that you can always do things better, and that sometimes it's not just about brute force or you trying to make it happen or force it to happen. Sometimes it's just about using your mind or thinking outside the box, or thinking how can you do something differently and how you can do something better. So that was the other belief that I used to think is all about working hard, working hard, working hard, not understanding that working hard is not necessarily always going to be the answer, right? Sometimes there's going to be a better way of doing things. And if you're able to find a better way of doing things, that can put you so much further ahead, or put you on a new track, a new road that previously wasn't even available from just hard work alone. So really think about what I'm saying here. I'm trying to, of course, give you guys some guidance, hopefully some answers to where you're at in life. But the goal of this video and the purpose of this video, right, the main idea is for you to understand that your beliefs are not all true. Now, these are just some beliefs that I tackled. Of course, you have many more beliefs as a person, right? You're different from me. And so I'm sure you have unique beliefs. I just want this video to be like me planting the seed, right? Or if the seed's already been planted for my video, for me to continue watering it, for you to be able to reflect on your own life and think about your own beliefs, think about some of the things that you've got accustomed to believing, thinking that it were true, and really questioning and saying, is this really true, right? Is this really true? Like, is there some truth to it, or is there less truth now than it used to be, right? Like, have you been able to, like, the beliefs that you believe now, right, were they beliefs that came from other people that they've ingrained in you, or was that something that you've arrived? And if you do have a belief, right, question its benefit, right? Is it serving you? Is it improving your life? Or is it being detrimental to your life, right? Is your belief holding you back from living the life that you want to live, from living life on your own terms, from calling your own shots? Is that belief holding you back, or is it pushing forward, or is it helping you to become the best version of yourself? It's important to reflect on your life. It's important to think about how things are going, right? Because if they're not going in the direction you want to head to, right? Let's begin thinking these new thoughts. Let's begin thinking about what we do want to happen. Let's begin thinking about the best case scenario, so that when we have that new idea, that new dream scenario, we can fall in love with that idea. We can plant that idea in our minds. And as we think about it, as we entertain the idea, and we keep referring back to it over and over and over, we can then begin to program and create a new belief for ourselves in whatever area, whatever industry, whatever part of your life you want to adjust, improve, or change. You can do that. So once again, remember, guys, your beliefs are not all true. So if you need to, take time to reflect on your life, look at the things that you've been taught, the things that you've been led to believe, whether consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, right? And begin making the necessary changes for the better. So once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.